Hello and thank you for your loyalty to this program. It is with the same pleasure that I welcome you once again to Football Planet, and here is what's coming up. The African Champions League, things are gradually becoming clearer for TP Mazembe, who continue their clear run in the Champions League. 3 wins in as many games, while the suspense remains total in the CAF Cup. No under-20 African Cup of Nations for Zambia. The defending champions, Chipolopolo, were dismissed by Burundi on Sunday. We now know 7 of the 8 who qualified for Niger 2019. And he was one of the stars of the World Cup in Russia. Senegalese referee Malang Diédhiou will be our guest. We discuss video assistant referee and the decision to end his international career. Development is right now. Welcome to Football Planet. It was the big sensation of the weekend. Zambia won't defend its title of the Under-20 Nations Cup. Winners in the first leg. The Chipolopolo sank in Burundi, losing 3-0 on the last day of qualifying. The other finalist in the last edition, Senegal, will be in the game after their 4-1 win over Congo. 7 of the 8 qualifiers are known, as shown in this table of results. There is therefore only one place left between Benin and Ghana, whose first confrontation is set for 4th August, and between 10th and 12th August for the return leg. The CAN Under-20 Niger 2019 is scheduled from 24th February to 19th March. Let us start with the youth category. A few weeks after the COSAFA Senior Cup, the COSAFA Under-17 tournament kicked off last Friday. Namibia crushed the Seychelles 8-3, host nation, and finalist in the last edition, Mauritius, defeated Namibia. Here is a roundup of the results and table standings. The final of this tournament will be played on 29th July, and the winner will automatically qualify for the Under-17 African Championship next year in Tanzania. We'll come back to that in our next show. Now let's talk about Africa's big club competitions. Starting with the Champions League, the quarterfinals are taking shape for TP Mazembe. The Congolese club is the only team to have won all 3 of its matches, the last of which was a few days ago against its runner-up Molodia of Algiers. The Lubumbashi Ravens are only 1 win away from qualifying, a ticket they will be looking for on Molodia's turf. Here's a summary of the results and rankings by group. The 4th day of the Champions League will be played next Saturday, and the next day we'll see the CAF Confederations Cup, the 4th round of which will also be played. Here's what to expect. Et dans tous les groupes, comme l'indiquent les classements que vous voyez en ce moment, suivi du programme de la journée. The weekend promises to be very exciting all over the continent. Let's talk about the World Cup again. Much has been said about the failure of African teams with the elimination of the continent's 5 representatives at the group stage, and yet Africa was well represented in the second round, not by a team, but by referees, and especially Malang Diédhiou. The Senegalese referee notably officiated the match for 3rd place. It is an honor for us to accept our invitation, and thank you for that, referee. So we could measure all the pride of the Senegalese and Africa for your performance at the World Cup. What does this represent from a personal point of view?
Thank you very much. You know how it feels to take part in a World Cup, which is the greatest sporting event. As an actor, that brings some good. One thing was to participate in this World Cup. Another was to make it a success for Senegal and Africa as a whole. I believe that through our acclaimed performances, we're truly proud of ourselves. And not only Malang Diédhiou, but the Senegalese trio comprising myself, Jibril Kamara and El Haj Malik Samba. Also, I'd like to say that, in my personal opinion, the performances of all the other African referees present at this year's World Cup were excellent.
Would this mean that the level of African arbitration remains very good, despite what some may think?
Yes, as I said, the level of African arbitration is excellent. People have worked hard for years. Since Ndi Maye has been in charge of the refereeing department with a committee that was put in place, Badara Mamayasene and others, this work has been reinforced in line with FIFA standards, and with all the modern concept of refereeing that responds to the speed of the game. Now, this meets several other criteria that allows the referee to follow the game, to understand, to anticipate, and to be able to move around to be at the right time and be able to make the right decision. But that said, I believe, like everyone, that the level of African refereeing today is at par with others, if not even better.
You spoke about a new concept of arbitration. This World Cup was marked by the introduction of the video assistant referee, which, it must be said, didn't meet unanimous approval. What is the opinion of the referee that you are? Does video evidence help football and referees?
Yes, I think from a just perspective, video helps football. I believe that the team that deserves to win the match will always remain the winner. But from the referee's point of view, I think the video allows the referee to be serene until the end of the game. A referee, for example, after whistling a penalty, needs reassurance. Today, we have the video on the spot, which allows you to know if your decision is indeed good or bad. It allows the referee to focus and not to inquire more about the decision he's already made. Of course, we just started to employ this. There'll be some aspects that may need corrections.
One last question before I leave you. To everyone's surprise, you announced your international retirement. What motivated this decision?
There are several reasons. One of the reasons is first to give more time to my professional life. But the most important one is that of my age. I am 45 years old today. It is true, there's no longer age limit at FIFA. I could have gone as far as the African Cup, but I immediately prefer to give much more chances to the young Senegalese referees who can participate in the qualifiers of the African Cup of Nations. They can also compete to eventually go to the next World Cup. So these are some of the reasons that guide this decision, which was difficult to take, but carefully considered.
Well, wise decision, one might say. Anyway, we want to thank you.
You thank you.
So if you didn't disappoint, it wasn't the case for some stars who failed to shine in Russia. Neymar, for example, was unable to prevent the Selecao's elimination in the quarter-finals. After weeks of silence, the Brazilian star finally broke the silence to respond to his critics. Here's Victor Mwisho and Chancellor Ningwilimbi.
Brazilian striker Neymar returned home to Sao Paulo for the final of his five-a-side tournament on Saturday, where he told the media that he had learned from his stint at the World Cup and was still hopeful to eventually clinching the elusive trophy. The Brazilian international received heavy criticism for his apparent play acting during the World Cup, which culminated with him rolling on the ground. He has defended himself over claims that he is a diver and says that he finds the criticism on his individual performance unfair. It's true. I think this is the first time I've been asked this way, and the reasoning is good. I think we've been more critical of the one that did not commit the mistakes than the one who commits them. Those who committed the mistakes came out unscathed. I think the reviews have been exaggerated, but I'm used to it. I'm a big boy. I know how to handle criticism, and I know how to handle that sort of thing. You know how difficult it is to play football, even more for the attackers. We know that our opponents will not let us go without dribbling. And it's going to be harder and harder. But I'm not a referee. I cannot be a referee and play at the same time. If I could, it would be easier. Neymar's Five tournament is a five-a-side soccer competition that brings young players from across the world to Brazil to represent their countries in a tournament setting. Mexico clinched the trophy on the men's side, while Brazil won the women's category. Neymar is now scheduled to return to PSG for his club duties, as the forward has quashed rumors that he will be quitting the French side for Real Madrid.
And with that, we come to the end of the program. There is more on our website, Africanews.com, and the discussion continues at the addresses that appear at the bottom of your screen. I wish you an excellent week and look forward to seeing you next week for another edition of Football Planet. Goodbye.